Hi, this is Carrie Amaro, and welcome to day 6. So, today we're going to be talking about liquidity and the importance I want you to place on understanding the difference between the information you get from liquidity and any type of dashboard or analytics. Okay, so let's dive right in. Liquidity is the real story of any business, not revenue, not profits, not dashboards, not spreadsheets, not any type of analytic ratio, but liquidity. Now, I know you're going to ask, okay, Carrie, why are you honing in on this topic? Because you can be profitable and broke. You can look stable on paper and be struggling in reality. You can show strong sales and still feel like there's constant pressure all the time. I want you to pinpoint when your profits are looking good, but cash feels tight. Can you admit those times you had big surprises that you didn't see coming or seasonality hiccups that call you off guard? This is why this conversation is always important, especially when we're entering a new season, a new year. I want us to pause and I want us to hone in. If just talking about this topic started, your blood starts boiling, you're already getting tense in your body, I want you to understand that these pain points are not just financial failures, they're clarity failures. They tell a story, and if you're willing to listen, they don't have to repeat themselves. So here's where executives get it wrong. They get so consumed with their EBITDA that they lose sight of paying special attention to that liquidity. Now, I can say this because I've been a controller CFO for over 17 years, and I just want to hone in on a very simple truth. Profit is a story. Its main purpose is historical and should be used to understand the context, lessons learned for the future, budgets, projections, forecasting. If you're just honing in on getting to a matrix, on meeting a number every month, you're missing the point of your income statement. You're missing the point of that historical data. Okay. Now, liquidity, on the other hand, is a story of reality and it sits on your balance sheet. We do have a debit and credit and financial relationships power session, which is intended for you to learn within 24 hours. Feel free to visit the Wealth Exec and pick that up. But let's continue here. Liquidity reflects things like timing, collection disciplines, quality of not only your clients, but your pricing and your estimating practices, your vendor relationships, your inventory health, your production rhythm, your seasonality, leverage, operational delays, leadership decisions, and the list goes on and on. And where do most businesses compile these analytics and ratios? On dashboards, right? But dashboards can hide the truth because they're designed to simplify the information being delivered. But if your dashboards can't lead you to the impact on liquidity, you may want to revisit your dashboard's composition. For instance, what do dashboards track? We said it before: sales, margins, labor efficiencies, EBITDA expectations, but not decisions. For instance, AP aging could be sitting 58 to 62 days out. Vendors could be tightening their terms. I want you to think about two things when it comes to your receivables. How many customers with long-term contracts haven't been set up with milestone billing? How much of your collection risk is being masked by average balances? And finally, I want you to think about the concentration of your customer base when it makes up your revenue cycle. Now, think about this as well. For organizations that have covenant requirements, that's an additional pressure that you need to think about when it comes to your liquidity expectations. And one of the silent killers that could be had when it comes to liquidity and production and trying to meet deadlines is the approving of overtime to catch up. Now, that dashboard truth is that KPI can look fine, but the liquidity reality has to do with the context, right? It has to do with leadership choices or things happening in the industry at that particular time that can shift the timing of cash. I guess the point that I'm trying to hone in on here is that liquidity requires both attention and depth, and quite frankly, honesty. It requires asking yourself, do you actually have the cash available to operate with confidence for the next 90 days? What are your concerns? What should you be addressing right now? Inventory, cash availability, production scheduling. what? What do you need to address right now to make sure that you're okay? So I ask you before we move on to the next steps that I'm going to share, do you have a team that understands the end game? And I know we touched upon this in a prior episode, so I want to invite you to go back and listen to it. But really ask yourself, do I have the team put in place? Am I communicating what is necessary for us to succeed in the long run with my team? All right. And if you are ready, let's move into those 3 steps of reflection points that you can act upon. Ready? Number one, you can probably guess. It's stop relying solely on your dashboards. Make sure everyone is involved and understands and is executing not just on the matrix, but the story behind the matrix. I'm going to repeat it again. Dashboards are summaries, they're historical. It's like I said about that profit, that EBITDA, that income statement. It's historical in nature. It's to provide you with information so that you can execute understanding the context and move yourself forward and look at budgets and forecasting. Okay. Liquidity, on the other hand, lives in the details. It resides in our balance sheet. And once again, we do have a power session that talks about debits and credits and financial statement relationships and how they relate to these things. All right. Now, if liquidity lives in the details, let's dive in to answer some questions with regard to that. Are you ready? Let's get started. What is the true timing of cash in and out? Where are delays actually occurring in collection, production, invoicing, approvals? I want you to really think about, are we operating on assumptions or accuracy? And if we are operating on assumptions, I want us to ask this important question. Do those assumptions reflect expectations for the next 3 to 6 months, or are they hope based on past expectations? I'm going to repeat it again. Dashboards inform, but liquidity confirms. I want you to do something for me. Go back and test historical data. How did you use that dashboard in the past? And how did it help you or hurt you? What lessons did you learn? Because remember, this is data that you're pulling from past decision-making practices. It's the best kind ever. Your dashboard should point you towards a true picture of your future business health. And when you layer in liquidity expectations, I want you to ask yourself the questions. Are both views telling the same story? And if not, that dashboard isn't wrong. It's just incomplete. Okay. Remember, liquidity gives you that ability to decide because honestly, you can't spend money that you don't have. All right. Number two, I want you to conduct a weekly liquidity review, not monthly, but yes, weekly. And our aim is going to be to typical things like cash on hand, expected inflows, expected outflows, receivable timing, payable timing, our current obligations, inventory purchases that are going to be needed, payroll cycles. This one practice of compiling this information and understanding the why behind it prevents 80% of financial surprises. All right. Number three, we are going to align liquidity with operational reality. I really want you to look at things like throughput, production scheduling, inventory timing, customer seasonality. Now, if you have cash flow struggles, it's usually because operational timing and financial timing are not aligned. All right. I loved this session today. I hope you did too. Today, you walked away with the truth about why cash sometimes can feel tight, a deeper understanding of financial reality, and that new weekly rhythm that eliminates surprises. I want to leave you with this. Clarity around liquidity is the heartbeat of your business. Please remember, profit is optional, but liquidity is survival. So, in closing, your ability to lead confidently in this new year, this new season, depends on understanding the truth behind your numbers, not the illusion in them. So, taking the time out to understanding the why and getting your team involved so there's a bunch of eyes on the situation, everyone reporting to you with one understanding is crucial. Okay, so I'll see you on day 7. For additional resources and to explore ways that we can work together, join our masterclass or visit thewealthexec.com for further resources. This is Carrie Amaro, the Wealth Exec. See you soon. See you day 7. Take care.